Hi, I'm George Pearson, and these are just a few examples from some of the training videos I have here on YouTube. Now, when you're working with the training, following along the training, if you want to get the materials I used in the training, just go to the description down below and click on the link that's at the top of the description, and this will take you to a page where you can download the materials. Please subscribe, click the like button, and of course always share on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Well, I found this picture of some moon monkeys attacking an Apollo astronaut. Well, not really. I found a picture of an Apollo astronaut and found a monkey elsewhere, and then using some standard compositing techniques, put them all together. So let's see how we can do this kind of image where you're combining several pictures into one new image. We'll start off, let me just get rid of this, I'll close that down, that's no longer needed. We'll start off with that picture right there, Apollo astronaut, and with this picture of a monkey over here on the right hand side. Now a few things, I'm going to just increase the size of this a bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. A few things on this just to keep in mind as we work on this project. First, as you recall from that previous image, I had the Earth back here, that's from a different picture. I had the stars, that's from another picture. All these Apollo moonshots don't have anything in the sky, and I thought putting some sky in there is kind of nice. Then we're going to have a monkey over here, and we'll be making a shadow with that monkey, and the shadow goes behind this lunar rover. The monkey over here is going to be in behind this wheel, so we're going to need to do a little bit of masking to be able to place those objects in behind this object. Let's just start off with grabbing the monkey over here. This is the easy part. Here's our monkey. I'll grab this layer and just drag it like that onto the page. There we go. So it's now part of the file. Obviously way too big, and I don't need to have all this stuff in the background that's just kind of in the way. So what I'll be doing here is to first do just a rough selection to get rid of the background stuff after I get this sized properly. So let's bring our opacity down about 50-55% in there someplace. I want to have this monkey about the same height as the astronaut, so I'm going to grab the control handles and I'll just pull him down, and we'll just put him right by the astronaut here. Okay, a little bit too large still. Now a little bit further. That's probably pretty good, about in there. So he's about the right size now for what I want. I think that looks good. Click the green check mark, and there it is. Let's put our opacity back up again. So we have our basic size. Now let's clip this monkey out of here so we can kind of position him properly. I'm just going to go over here and grab one of our marquee tools. Just grab the standard lasso, and I'll just do a real rough lasso way outside like this. We're going to be doing a better selection in just a bit. This is just a real rough, and I'm going to invert that, inverse, hit the delete key, and that just removes all that excess background stuff. I can now just go ahead and deselect. So I have one monkey over here and then a monkey over there who's going to be a flip of this. We'll do the monkey first, just right here in the middle of the page. We'll do a real nice clean job. Let's make sure our size looks good. I think that's okay. Maybe a little bit smaller on that still. I don't want them too overwhelming. Okay, that's pretty good. So there's the basic monkey and basic size. We're going to do the one monkey first and then simply copy that for the other monkey. That'll make it much easier that way. What I want is a nice clean selection around this monkey, and then we'll use that to create a layer mask so we can easily then adjust things if we need to. So let's zoom in. There we go. That's about as far as we can go and still see the whole thing. I'll go back to my lasso tool, and then I'll make a new selection coming in pretty close to this. I'm not going to get right up against it, but it's just pretty close. This is a technique I use a lot on things like this, on people and on animals. It's a pretty good technique for that. If I'm making a selection on something a little more rigid like that lunar rover, I'll use a different technique. We'll use and see that technique as well. So use the technique that works out best for you for your particular use. Okay, so there's my basic selection. So now go up here to select, and we're going to refine the edge of that selection. Brings up the refine edge dialog box. I always have mine set at the overlay. Personal choice. You can use any of these that you like, black on white, black and white, whatever you like. I happen to like the overlay. It works out fine. And we're just going to go right into this. I'm not going to be doing any smart radius or any of that kind of stuff. We're just going to go right into cleaning up this edge. So I'll zoom in a bit. Notice we have a hand tool. You can also switch to the hand tool, move things around, back to your magnifying glass. The refine radius tool, this is the tool that you use to clean up the edge. And then you can clean up the image with the eraser. We'll be looking at both of those. Now to use this tool, also there's your brush size. If you want to change the brush size, that's down here in the options panel. The default is 35, and I'll leave it at that default for now. What I want to do is I want to put that plus sign into the background area and then allow the circle to overlap onto the part that I want to have Photoshop Elements re-examine. Let's just see how it works. So I'll click here, now it's going to drag. Now I'm holding down the mouse key. When I let go, Elements is going to rethink this. Okay, I've let go. There we go. It rethought it and it gave us a better mask. Real nice in there along that fur. We're going to have to clean this up. I mean, there's no way around that. We're going to have to do some cleanup on this. I'll let go. It figured that out. Okay, didn't do a very good job there. If you hold the space bar down, it allows you to move the image around as well. Same thing as grabbing that hand over there. Okay, let's just continue on around. So this is the first pass on this. There we go. Hold the space bar down. It's good right along there. That's fine. And then continue on down the back side of the monkey here. That all looks good. And we'll come down around the foot. Again, space bar to move. And then around this foot. Notice I'm doing it in just little pieces. And then I'm seeing how things look. We're going to have to come back in and make some adjustments on this. That usually is the case with the Refine Edge tool. It's going to be good but not perfect. Some spots, like right here where there's a real sharp contrast, it'll do that great. Other areas where there isn't that kind of contrast, it's not as successful on. Like right there, not as successful. Okay, so there's my first pass on that. Let's now switch to the eraser tool. And I'll bring the size down a bit on my brush. 19 looks pretty good. This is actually a repair tool. Think of it like a repair tool. So I can now come in here, and wherever I see that red that's inside of the monkey ship, I don't want to have that. I'll just paint over with this, and it restores that part of the image, backing it. It gets rid of that red part. So I'll go around and I'll look for those areas, like right here is the bottom of the arm. I can clean that up. And into the hand. We'll have to do more on the hand in a later step. But this is just coming in and cleaning up our refined edge. And we'll look at the back side here. That's looking okay. Again, I hold the space bar down to give me that hand to move things. Okay, around the foot. There we go. Now it's still trying to find that edge a little bit in here as well. Once we're done with this, we're going to switch over to the mask and then clean the mask up. But this will get us pretty close, and it takes care of a lot of the really hard stuff for us. That's the main reason I want to use this tool is, things like the fur in there, really hard to do that manually. So we'll just let this come in and do the best job that it can. Okay. We've cleaned that up. That looks pretty good. That's a good part at this point. So I'm going to change my output to a new layer with layer mask. Choose OK. And there it is. There's our new layer with a layer mask right there. And it hides the original layer. Now we can clean this up even more on the layer masks. Notice if I click over here, or double click rather, I get that blue outline. So I'm on the image part of this. If I click over here, or double click, depends on what you need to do there, get that blue outline, you're on the layer mask. Notice that the area that's black here is showing us that background picture. Area that's white is showing us the original image. So white shows image, black hides. Just keep that in mind. Now you can see kind of along here is a bit of a faded area in there. and there's a bit of a line around the edge here. I want to get rid of that stuff, and we'll clean this mat up as best we can. So going to the black foreground color, go to our brush tool. Let's look at our brush size. Not too bad. Let's see what size that is. That's 30 pixels, and it's a soft edge brush, 30 pixel soft edge brush. And I'm just going to come along and paint into the edges here a little bit. It's going to make the edge of the monkey just a little bit soft. That's fine. If the monkey's supposed to be moving, he'd have kind of a soft edge anyway. We'll have to come in with a smaller brush for some of these little detail areas. Same thing on that. I'll use the hand brush or the little hand tool holding that down the space bar. I'm just cleaning up the outside area right now. This is areas where the refined edge tool was giving us a bit of a transparency. I didn't really want to have that. And let's come in here. I'll have to use a different tool, obviously, for their different brush size, rather. We'll get to that in just a bit. So this kind of an approach, it's a back and forth process. You do a little bit, then you go back and you change your tool, or you change your adjustment, and then a little bit more, and you just refine your selection. In this case, we're using the painting into the matte technique, which is very easy to do because it's a real visual technique. Okay, we've gone clear around. Let's now change the brush size. So here's our brush size right there. I just want to have the brush a bit smaller. And 9's too small. 21's pretty good. Maybe a little bit smaller than that. And there we go. Now, of course, there are keyboard shortcuts for doing things like this. If you tap on the bracket keys, you can make smaller or larger left or right bracket. But I'm showing you everything here on the screen so you can easily see exactly what it is that I'm doing. I'm trying not to hide anything by using keyboard shortcuts that you can't see. So let's go ahead and, with a smaller brush, come in a little bit tighter. So the smaller the brush, the more careful you can be about your mat. And again, I'm painting black onto the black and white mat, and that allows me to come in and really clean up that edge. Now it's just a process of going around and doing this little bit of cleanup. Now I'm going to pause the video at this point, and I'll finish this cleanup, and I'll go down to a couple of brushes smaller probably and just really carefully do the edge. And as soon as I finish my cleanup, I'll then bring the video back up and we'll take it from that point. Okay, I've done enough cleanup at this point on this. I might want to do a little bit in there, but later on we'll see. You can always come back and adjust this later on. There's one point that I didn't do. Let me just bring the monkey down here, and that's down here. We've lost a little bit of the foot, and then I'll simply reverse my colors down here. White shows, so I can come back in here and I can just click in here with the white to make sure I'm showing all of that foot and all of this foot, so it can bring back in any part that I may have missed or taken out with the other processes, other colors. So again, the white shows and black hides. Do a little final touch up right down there. I think like that looks pretty good. Okay, that takes care of the basic moon monkey mat. We'll clean it up a little bit later if we need to, but that's good. Let's now get this guy positioned exactly where you want him. I think right around in here somewhere is pretty good. Okay, now let's make our other monkey. That's simply taking this one, making a copy of this layer, drag it up like that. There's our copy. He's going to be on the left hand side coming into the frame. Let's now flip this one. So go up here to Image and Rotate. And the second set down here, this is the layer step. I want to flip the layer horizontal. There it is. And I'll just bring him up here so he's just coming into the frame up like that, just a bit. There we go. So I think it's pretty good. Now a couple things in here. Obviously this monkey is in front of the land rover. I want it in behind that lunar rover in there. And this monkey is going to be having a shadow coming across here, and the shadow should be in behind this rover as well. So I need to create a new layer and a masked up part of this rover, and I need this part in here, and I need that part in there. I don't need the whole thing, just this middle section over here, maybe in through here, and that bit in there. So let's go down here to the background, and this time I'll do something a little bit different. I'm going to zoom in on this, and we're going to use the Polygonal Lasso tool, which is that one right there. And let's set this up at Add. And I'll just begin clicking points around the edge and let Photoshop Elements fill in the line between those points. Now, the nice thing about this tool is it's really easy to use, easy to control, and it's very good for things that have hard edges. I use it all the time on buildings and things like this lunar rover in here. And I'll come around this bit of whatever this is. We'll do that a little bit better here in just a second. Now I can come right across this, that's fine. And when I get to the edge, if I roll over against that edge, it automatically scrolls for me. Now I can go straight across here, it doesn't matter. And then we'll come back down through here. I just want that middle section. And that's his leg in shadow. And go to the edge and it scrolls for me automatically. There's the boot. And almost down to that other fender over here. I can also hold the spacebar down, move this over, let go of the spacebar, and then I can continue to work. And I'll continue around just like this. And then right in behind there, I probably should have just hidden that monkey to go around that, but it's pretty easy to see where that's going to be. And we can adjust that layer as well. Okay, now I can just come down and around, make sure I stay off of that lunar surface, come down around this way, and right up there again, left-hand side. Bring it over. I don't need the bottom of that wheel. So I can now angle this down and come down to where it is I started. In here. Actually, we're over further, aren't we? So let's go over a bit further. There it is. That's the wheel I'm looking for. And let's come right along the edge here. That's pretty good. Around this wheel. And that's good enough, actually. I can just go straight over here to our beginning bit. Double click, and that closes that out. And that's fine. Now there's a couple of spots in here I want to have that shadow show through if the shadow comes into this area. So let's switch this over to the subtract from selection icon. And let's just cut out these little open spaces in here. There's one. And let's get this one. And that will be good enough. There we go. Okay, I now have that trimmed out. Now, in order to be able to come back in and easily adjust this if I need to, I want to do this as a layer mask. So let's just make a layer mask. Click on the mask. It gives me a layer mask with just that bit. There's our layer mask. We can now zoom out a little bit here and see how things look. Okay, that's going to be in the shadow area. That's fine. And that's going to be blocking that leg. That's good. So I'll make a copy of this. There we go. I'll just move the copy in here above the monkeys like that so they're not in behind. The one down here, I can now get rid of this one. So I'm just going to right click on that and disable the layer mask. There we go. I'll leave it on there just in case I want to duplicate that again. But there's that mask. So this monkey is now in behind that fender. That's good. And that monkey's shadow is going to be in behind that side. That's fine. Since we have this on a layer mask, I can now zoom in here and make sure that our edge looks good. So let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, a little bit right in there. I want to take that out, so I'll go back to my lasso tool. Again, black hides and white shows. So I'll just make a new selection. Notice that I'm on the layer mask layer over there, layer mask side of that layer. So I'll make a little selection right like that. Bring that back around. I can now paint into this area black. Grab our paintbrush, paint in black, and that fixes that. Deselect. Okay, that is good. We have our basic monkeys down and basic position is down. Let's now put some shadowing in here on these monkeys. I'll do the right side monkey here, and then we'll do the left side monkey. Now for the shadow, I'm just going to copy this layer. There we go. Let's name these as first, and I'm going to call this one MM1 for Moon Monkey 1. And this will be the shadow. MM1S for MM1 shadow. I'm doing it real short because there's not much space over here to see this. So there's our moon monkey, and this is our moon monkey shadow. Now the shadow's in black. We have the matte in there, so I can come onto this layer here, grab my paintbrush, put the color to black, and let's bring the brush size up a bit. That's pretty good. And I'll just paint over the monkey. You can be real sloppy about this because it's being hidden and protected by that matte. So we're fine. Okay, now that I have that, I need to resize this and make it look a bit more realistic. I'm just going to pull these control handles down a little bit like that. Let's have some fun up here on the shape. Go up here to Image, Transform, and Skew. This allows you to grab a side or the top, just kind of move things around like that. I'll push this way over here. There we go, and choose OK. And let's now pull that in so their feet are about the right position. Now notice that the shadow here is going almost straight to the side. See right back there, there's that wheel. It's almost straight to the side. So this has to be straight like that. So let's come just outside and let's rotate that around so that shadow is straight out to the side. And get it in position like that so the toes are touching. Looks good. Choose OK. It's a little bit too long right now, so I'm going to squeeze the size down a bit and pull them in. And I'll use my keyboard here, cursor keys, just to move that around just a touch. Okay, so there is that shadow. Now it needs to be in behind the monkey, obviously, so there's the shadow, there's the monkey. I'll just grab this layer and drag it down underneath. It's now in behind. I want to soften it down. You can just barely see just a little bit in here along this. So let's just bring the opacity down just a little bit on this. Okay, 76 is too much. 90 looks just about right. That's a pretty good match. So there we are. There's our first shadow and our first moon monkey in position. Let's now do our shadow over here on this moon monkey. Same technique. And that's this one right here. So let's grab this layer, copy it. There we go. We're going to paint this in on black on that image side of that. So grab our paintbrush and then paint that in so the monkey is totally covered. Just like that. There we go. Back to the move tool, of course. Let's just drag them underneath that layer at this point. There we are. And now let's grab that skew. So image, transform, skew. And I'll show that way over like that. Let's rotate that around after we click on the green OK button. Rotate that around so it is at the right angle. Pull that down. Put it in behind the monkey. There we go. It's a little bit large. I'm going to pull it down just a bit like this. Just kind of squeeze it down a little bit. And make sure we're the right angle. Okay, then just final position with the cursor keys here. And that gives us our basic shadow in there. Maybe it's a bit too far up on that side, so I can squeeze that down a little bit. And get our monkey shadow in there. That looks pretty good. See, a lot of this is a matter of just going back and forth and adjusting. So you can see now how this shadow is hiding in behind the rover in there. But it's just right across that middle. Okay, so we have those edges. Now this one's a little bit too soft on that edge, but if the monkey is moving, you may get some softness on that. But I think I can be a little bit harder on this edge. That's this one right there. So I want to sharpen this up a little bit. Now notice we have a lot of white outside here. That doesn't matter because there's nothing to hide around that, so you don't need to worry about that. If that bothers you, just fill it in with black to clean things up, but that's okay for our use. So let's click on the matte side. Let's get this up a little bit. Over here where the sponge tool is, just to lift that sponge, this little drop thing. Under that tool we have the blur and the sharpen tool right there. So let's grab our brush size, which is way over here. Bring up a little bit. You can see the brush size right there. Okay, I'm just going to use that, and when we're on the layer mask right there, just go along the edge of that layer mask right there. And just kind of paint along that edge a little bit. That's going to sharpen up that edge. There we are. It's a little detail, but it helps make this look a little bit more realistic since this has real sharp edges down there. So I just want to kind of mimic that sharp edge effect. Okay, that one doesn't really show, so I'm not going to worry about that. This one was showing. All right, that's taken care of that. Now we want to blend these monkeys in a little bit better into the background. So I'm going to go back to our monkey layer, which is that one right there. It's monkey 1, Moon Monkey 1. Let's go ahead and name this while we're at it. This is MM2. It's our second monkey. And this would be MM2S for our second monkey shadow. Okay, first monkey right here. Let's do an enhancement, adjust color, hue and saturation. Now I want to bring the saturation down a bit, kind of blend them into the picture a bit better like that. Bring our lightness up a little bit. Now, this is just visual. I'm taking it down about 45 or so, 46 in there, about that much, and about 5 up. It just helps to blend this into the picture, and it's not too bright. I want to keep these as the brightest colors in there. Okay, that looks good. Let's do the same thing up here on our other monkey. Enhance, adjust color, adjust hue saturation, and we'll put down to that same 45 and see how that looks. I think a little bit less. He's just a little bit further away, so maybe 54, just a little bit darker, and a little bit up on the color. And that looks good. Okay, so far so good. Now, there's this real bright light on the right side of the astronaut's right side, left side of our screen. That's his right arm. So I want to mimic that on these monkeys, a little bit on the back side of this monkey and on the front side of this monkey. We'll start with the back when we're up there already. Make sure you're on the left side layer. Let's make a new layer right above that. I'll grab the white paint and paintbrush, and let's bring our brush size down a bit. It's at 63 right now. Let's bring it down to about half that, about 30 or so, 28, 30 in there. And on this new layer, I'm going to paint white just right along the back edge. A bit there, a bit here, a bit down like that, maybe a lip here, and a little bit in there. And back of the hand. Just a few spots like that. Now it looks really ugly here. We're going to fix that. First, I want it limited by this matte. So click on the layer mask, hold the Alt key down, and drag that layer mask up. That duplicates the layer mask onto this layer. That now cleans up that edge. Let's now go to this side, left side, and let's change our blending mode on this. And let's set this at soft light. And there's it just kind of lights up that back end. So there it is without, and there it is with. We've added light on that back side of that monkey. All right, same thing on this monkey. Let's come down to that one. That's the Moon Monkey 1 right there. There he is. New layer above that. There's our new layer. We have our paint is all still set up. So I want to have stuff on the front side in here. A little bit here, a little bit down there, a bit over here, maybe a little bit in here. Kind of like that. Just a bit of lightness on this front side. Same thing again. I want to take the layer mask just below that, hold the Alt key down, drag it up. That copies the layer mask. That limits that effect to that image. Let's now set this to the blending mode of soft light. There we are. So there's without and there's with the soft light. So I've lightened up that side that was in shadow, and I now lighten that side up so that the lighting in here is a better match to his lighting. Doesn't need to be perfect for this. We're just doing something kind of fast in here. But there we go. Now looking at this is a little bit of a shadow problem right there underneath his chin. I'm seeing that now. I don't see anything over there. That's fine. I'm seeing it in here. Let's just come back down to our layer mask. Let's zoom in on that. This is why you want to have these things as layer masks. So you can go back and you can change or adjust. Okay, this little dark shadow right there, that's bothering me. So black hides. I want to hide that. Let's go to our paintbrush. Check our size. That's way too large. The size here should be down around 10 or 9 or something. That's pretty good. Okay, we're on black. I'm painting on the layer mask itself, and let's just paint in a little bit in here and get rid of that dark area. And take a little bit of this dark halo out at the same time since we happen to be right here. Just little touch-ups as you go. Okay, now that's looking much better. And we can zoom back out again. Okay, we have our monkeys basically in place now. They have their shadows. We've adjusted their hue contrast. We've lightened up the correct size on them, so the monkeys are done. Last thing is to do something about the sky. Now all of the Apollo shots had just solid black skies. Not because there wasn't anything up there. There were stars up there all over the place. But because it was so bright down here, the camera couldn't get the real brightness here and the dimmer stars. They just kind of faded out. So we're going to add some stars in up here and add a big Earth over here as well. Now that's all going to be way down here at the bottom. To do that, though, I want to have another masked area. So we'll bring our stars in and we'll bring our Earth in. We'll do a little bit of masking on those to put them in behind all of this stuff. So let's delete this layer mask. Right click, delete that. We'll be doing something else down there in just a minute. Let's open up our images. So File, and I have those up here. It's that one. There's our stars. And let me find that other one I had in here. There it is. Okay, a couple of these files. Same thing as I did with the monkeys. I'll just grab the layer, drag it in here, and drop it on. All right, there's our Earth. Looking pretty good. Let's just bring our stars in. There's the stars. And I can now get rid of those two files. And let's see where we're at. Okay, I want the stars in behind the moon buggy. Let's just hide the Earth. There's the star layer. Now I need to have this part masked out of this layer so we can see through that. So let's, because it's all pure black, I can come up to this layer here and let's use our magic wand, click into that. There's a real nice selection, takes care of most of that for us, but there's a problem right there around the head. Easy fix. Zoom in on that. So I've selected this area, so I want to remove that from my selection. So let's grab our Polygonal Lasso tool. Let's make sure we're on subtract. There we go. That's fine. And then let's just come in here and carefully work around where that part of that helmet is. And work down this edge and around that part that I want to remove from my selection. Back up to the beginning again. There we go. Okay, we've cleaned that up. Let's zoom back out again. There we go. Now I have the space part selected. I want to have this part down here selected. So let's go up to Select and Inverse. So the bottom area is now selected. Let's hit the New Layer Mask button. There's our layer mask right there. And there's the stars showing through. I can now take these and move these over a bit. Just kind of fill that in to find a nice spot where those fit. I don't want any really bright stars in there, so I'll move it over like that. They're still too bright. You want to have most of the view down here. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Let's bring it down to, let's see, maybe 90, 92 on the transparency. That will dim the stars down. But as you can see, we're seeing the transparency behind that. So I need to do one more thing. Let's make a new layer here. Take this layer, put it underneath the star layer. Just drag it down like that. And I'll name this one while I'm at it here. It's our stars. Spare a new background there. Just fill that with black. So there's our black foreground color. Paint bucket and click with black. There we go. Okay, there's the stars. Now let's get the Earth in here. Bring our Earth back up again. Pull it underneath the rover picture above our stars. And then you can size this at any size you want. I mean, that's kind of neat like that, but it's too big for our picture. So grab the control handle and let's just begin to drag this down until you get a nice size for that. I don't want it too big up here. Just kind of up there in the upper corner a little bit like that. Looks pretty good. Choose OK. Now, there are no stars showing through here. That's because that's black. So magic wand, click in that corner. That selects that part. Invert that selection, invert. So just the Earth is selected now. And then new layer mask. Creates our mask. And there we go. So there is our moon monkeys attacking our astronaut, using a whole bunch of these little tricks to combine several pictures together. And as you can see, it's really just a matter of doing a lot of masking to hide the part you don't want to hide or you don't want to have shown, and then adjusting values and lighting and so forth so that you get a nice even match. But there we are. Let me just bring this down a little bit so you can see that better. There's our picture of the moon monkeys attacking an astronaut. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.